welcome back, and many thanks for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV. Well, do look out for the Digital Security Conference. It's going to be taking center stage from 10 a.m. all the way to midday. We're going to be talking about education during this COVID-19 pandemic. The theme shall be focusing on catching opportunities and challenges of digitalization. In an economy where there is low internet penetration at only 40%, we are touting the significance of using online technological advancements for continued learning for our learners. But how many of them can actually access this technology to ensure continued learning? Hasn't the digitalization of the education sector gone a long way in widening the educational gap between the rich and the poor? Those who can afford the internet, those who can afford an iPad or a gadget that can get onto the internet were able to continue with their learning. But then those who were unable to acquire these technological gadgets were actually left behind. So what are the ramifications of that? Or how will government be able to expedite some kind of measures to ensure that even those that missed out on online learning are brought at par with those who were actually learning or getting some kind of education during this COVID-19 pandemic? You do have game changers, new players within the sector, that is UNICAF University, and they will largely be focusing on the maximization of the internet to ensure the continued learning in that regard. But how well shall they be able to expedite that? What are some of the challenges they envisage to encounter along the way? We do have the University Vice Chancellor of UNICAF, and that is Professor George William Nasinyama. He's here and willing to indulge us on the digitalization of the education sector. But first off, we'd like to know more about UNICAF University in Uganda. A very good morning, George William. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Romeo.
Indeed.
Nice to be here.
Indeed. We did have a phone call yesterday between 4 and 5. We did have a conversation on this same subject. Now, largely, but first off, before we get into the nitty-gritties of the show, tell us more about UNICAF University in Uganda.
Thank you so much. Good morning, listeners and viewers.
Indeed.
Yeah, UNICAF University is a multi-campus university that is found in many...
Yeah, go ahead. Camera one.
Yeah, sure. In many parts of the world. It is a Pan-African university.
We're in 12 countries in Africa?
Yeah, we are established in about 12 countries in Africa, and in Zambia, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe. And we have learning centers in many parts of...
you know, when I saw Zimbabwe part of that list, even in the phone call yesterday, I did mention it, George William. I was wondering how it is possible you could go to Zimbabwe and not take center stage or to make touchdown within Uganda first. How would you go to Zimbabwe and not Uganda first? Our education sector is buzzing or bustling more than the Zimbabweans.
Yeah, I think the UNICAF organization, it is interest is to provide an internationally quality education for Africans. So it's looking at Africa as a region. So providing quality education and internationally recognized education for Africans. So going to Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe of course is, it has it is internet connectivity penetration is about that of Uganda, I think.
40%.
Yeah, about that. But I think it's just making sure that is bringing quality education to many deserving Africans in this region.
Tell us about the challenges that you've been encountering operating in jurisdictions that have a low internet penetration, yet you are largely a university that is focusing on online teaching and learning.
Yeah, that is quite true. When you look at Africa, globally, where Africa is positioned in terms of internet connectivity, of course we are the lowest. I think the highest penetration is found in South Africa and some countries in Northern Africa. But in Sub-Saharan Africa, the penetration is quite, you know, is not substantive enough. It ranges between 28 to, I think, 48%. And Uganda, as you say, is about 40%. So that is a significant challenge. But what UNICAF does, it has recognized that challenge, and we do provide to each eligible applicant who is registered with us, we provide an electronic tool, an iPad, to assist them.
Once I register, enroll, iPad in my hand, help me with continued learning online.
Yes.
Amazing.
But of course that presupposes that you'll be able to be in a place where you can connect.
I see.
So
if I'm in Gulu, where there is poor connectivity, trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you could be able to buy, data and use that. But that is why we are appealing to government that the fiber optic connection, the framework, should be rolled out to each and every part of the country, and also to make sure that the cost of bandwidth.
Of course, issues to do with bandwidth. You do have taxes that were instituted on July 1st, and one of those taxes were levied on the issue of airtime and data, 12%. Yeah. Do you think these are some of the measures that will only kill these ventures meant to help learners integrate to the use of online technologies for continued learning?
Fortunately, when we launched UNICAF University on Tuesday, the 26th of this month,
yes.
We were fortunate to have the Cabinet Minister, the Honorable Chris Wariomunsi, who is the Minister of ICT and National Guidance. And he told the nation that they are working on this. That within a foreseeable future, early next year or within next year, these rates are going to come down. And I think that is a welcome gesture towards enabling access to online tools and online learning. Not only online learning, but also business. They do require this cheap or affordable bandwidth. So we look at that as a very good gesture that will help our learners, our students, to access quality education, not necessarily being in brick and mortar, but wherever they are. And that is what UNICAF University is all about.
Largely, George William, do you believe the digitalization of the education sector has actually gone a long way in widening the educational gap between those who are rich, have a lot, and those who are poor, they have not, when it comes to accessing education?
Now, before the pandemic, I think many governments were hurrying slowly, if I may use that that phrase. They were talking about digitalization, they were talking about providing e-learning, online learning, but of course at a lackluster pace. But with the advent of onslaught of the pandemic, there was no time. There was a rush to ensure that online learning takes place. But the challenge was that the infrastructure
was not there.
Was hardly there in schools, in a number of universities. So that was a big challenge. And what needs to happen now, I saw there was a symposium recently in June on digitalization by the Minister of Education. And these are the challenges that they were talking about. We need to move very fast and make sure that we have the infrastructure in place in many parts of the country. For example, RENU, that's the Research Education Network of Uganda, has attempted to put hotspots, for instance, around Kampala for educational purposes. I would encourage that the government puts up hotspots in the rural areas where the students can, aggregate and learn from there instead of traveling, to Kampala, for example, to urban centers to study. I think that would be one of the solutions, in my view.
How are you planning to navigate the issue of the costly bandwidth? Now that they are not reducing it as UNICAF, what are you doing to overcome this challenge? You're giving them iPads. Are you also giving them free data? They got on the rock.
Not free data as such. But for us, at our premises, at our location, at our campus, UNICAF is located for the benefit of the viewers and listeners. UNICAF University is located here in Ntinda at plot 53B. So it is quite accessible. And, we do provide, our model is both online. You can study fully online or on campus with online study. So it is kind of blended. So those students who would like to have to come to the campus, we do have internet connectivity. The whole place is a Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. It is a hotspot. they are able to utilize those facilities as long as they let us know in advance that they're coming. But otherwise, remotely, we are not yet providing data to the students. We do provide an iPad, at least to help them access the internet.
Indeed.
Yes.
Now, what the viewer might not know, because you did say that you actually did open the university, that is on Tuesday. All right. But what they do not officially, but what they do know is that you've been here since 2017, operating as a call center for other universities or people who might want to join UNICAF University all over Africa. Tell me about that.
Yeah, UNICAF as an organization has been around for the last 10 years or so, and is the leading online provider or facilitator of digital state-of-the-art digital platform using the virtual learning environment. And so in Uganda, it came in around 2017, operating a call center whereby it was serving the region. So anybody can call in and get...
If I'm in Zimbabwe and I want to join UNICAF, the call center is in Uganda.
Yes.
If I'm in Kenya, Angola, I want to join UNICAF, the call center on how I can join the criteria to be followed, the people operating that call center. Why in Uganda?
Exactly.
I see.
So
you've since moved into a university that is of Tuesday.
Yes, we are already licensed by the National Council for Higher Education, and we have initially 4 accredited programs, bachelor's programs in business, that is Bachelor of Arts in Tourism and Hotel Management, Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Healthcare Management, and Bachelor of Science in Business Accounting and Financial Management. So those are ready, and we are admitting students to those programs. But that does not mean that those who would like to enroll on other programs, that you are welcome, because we are a network of UNICAF universities, and we are able to get registered in the other UNICAF universities, and all the programs are offered, including partners in the UK, in the US, because we partner with universities in the UK, like the University of Suffolk, Liverpool, John Moores University, and the University of East London in UK. So you can actually enroll and get degrees awarded by those universities. So you are welcome, whichever program you like to undertake. We are able to
George, considering the effect of the pandemic on the education sector, learners have lost school time for over 2 years right now. You do have a viewer who is saying, well, UNICAF University might have been in a better position operating as a call center. They are now joining an education sector that is largely has been in hibernation since March of 2020. So why choose to stretch UNICAF branch to Uganda at a time when our education sector is in deep slumber?
And that is exactly the point.
To resuscitate the education sector.
Yeah, I mean, education should not stop.
I see.
The pandemic has just brought that out very clearly to everybody.
That we shouldn't be operating as a call center, but rather a fully fledged university.
Not only that, I'm talking about the opportunities provided by digital platforms, learning online. That does not
require structures.
Whether they are closures of schools or whatever. People are studying, and people have been studying all along. And even Ugandans, before even we launched this university, they already enrolled on UNICAF university programs elsewhere.
And like you did mention that many have been learning, continued with their education, but others were left behind. Aren't you concerned about this reality?
Indeed we are. Indeed we are.
And how will you help these learners catch up?
Yes.
Those who did not study online?
What we do encourage is people should not think that you only have on-campus learning. You can learn online. And UNICAF University is one of the leading universities that provides that facility. But we don't stop only there.
But we are saying there are learners who were unable to study online. How will you help them catch up with those who were able to study online?
Now, the way...
Like if I come in, I'm green totally. I'm just enrolling for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah. What we do, we don't only offer, an education, we offer also skills. For instance, the digital skills. We teach you how to navigate the platform, how to study online, how to provide assignments online, how we grade online, and so forth. And also, one thing that I wanted to mention is that we offer very generous scholarships to enable our, we know that many of our...
especially in the rural areas, you're going to be giving us those details after the short break. Professor George William Nasinyama is the Vice Chancellor of UNICAF University. We are talking about the digitalization of the education sector. How best can we ensure that those who missed out on online learning catch up with those who are able to continue with their education so that we limit or reduce...
At NTV.
All right, Professor Nasinyama George William, the UNICAF Vice Chancellor, is still within my midst, and we are still talking about digitalization of the education sector. Well, we do know that the challenges that could come about as a result of touting the significance of online learning could be the costs of the data and so forth. Some individuals cannot even purchase these technological gadgets or advancements to ensure continued learning. But then, even for those who are able to get online, there's also the issue of exam malpractice. George, how are you willing to overcome that as UNICAF? Exam malpractice during e-learning.
Yes, Romeo, that is a very a threat that that is ever present.
Indeed.
Manipulation of the system, hacking into the system. But we have a very dedicated technical team that ensures the sanctity of the the digital platform. Everybody who accesses the system must have access rights.
I see.
To the different parts of the system. Students have access to certain parts, but not others. The lecturers have access, so there is security in the whole system. Cyber security has caused a lot of problems, not only in the education sector, but in banking, and you hear of hackings and all that. So we ensure that by having always, monitoring and having a very dedicated team to ensure that the system integrity is maintained. Yes.
How does the university plan to overcome the challenge of educational costs? We do know that education has been silenced for a while. Parents have been grappling with school fees. So the issue of costs, how do you plan to overcome it as UNICAF University?
Yeah, UNICAF University, through the UNICAF Scholarships Program, does offer partial scholarships to all the eligible applicants, those students that register with us. They get a partial scholarship, and the amount that is given, or the percentage, depends on the program that the applicant is offering, but also the financial means of that applicant. And we have excellent student advisors who interface with the applicants individually and help them and explain, and also they design a payment plan that is flexible and affordable by the student.
And of course, you were telling me about the module-based learning that would allow learners, even though they do not have school fees, to put education on hold, and then later on, when they get the money, they can continue with their phased learning. Yeah, exactly. How does that work?
Exactly, we run a module-based system whereby you take a module, complete it, and then you then register for the next module. But if you don't have the money for the next module, you can pull out and look for the money, then come back later. So it is quite flexible in the way that we offer this training, so that it is conducive, provides an environment that does not stress the students so much. Yeah, so the module-based system is very flexible, and we think that is a plus.
Indeed. And it's one thing to talk about the challenges, George William, and it's another to come up with resolutions. What can we come out with as far as resolutions are concerned to actually ensure the full digitalization of the education sector, and also ensure that these learning institutions inculcate ICT within their curriculums? What can government do to help them in this regard?
In my view, one, the infrastructure. government must ensure that the infrastructure is available all over the country, particularly in the rural areas
settings,
where the majority of our population lives, so that they are able to access the internet and be able to learn. Then too, I would think that government should explore providing tablets to all learners.
Indeed.
In some way, whether it's very subsidized rates, but all learners, the 15 million students that we have, should have tablets.
That will be impossible, George, because they had a proposal to award 9 million radios and 137,000 TV sets, but that largely did not go through. We couldn't secure 336 billion Uganda shillings for that encounter. So them issuing out tablets, that would be wishful thinking.
I've calculated that would come to about 216 billion.
I see.
I think over a period of time, if we put ourselves to it for 3 years, we'll be able to provide tablets to the students.
Professor Nasinyama, George William, many thanks for having made the time to speak to us. Indeed. We wish you all the best during in your future endeavors as you plan to skyrocket UNICAF to great heights.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.